Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is all about the Galaxy Note 9. I finally have mine from T-Mobile. It's the 128GB blue coral version. And I'm going to do a comparison for you guys between it, the Note 7, and the Note 8. Basically timelining the new design of the Note line and all the refinements that we've been going to for the last 3 years to get us to supposedly the best Note that we can get from Samsung to date. This is TK and let's go ahead and check it out. Here I have all three boxes, the Note 7, this is the Note 8, as well as the Note 9. Notice here that the emphasis on the S Pen. The main thing I want to mention to you guys is that the base model storage on all these devices up till the Note 9 has always been 64 gigs. The Note line's always started higher than the S9. But with this now new line is 128 is the base model and then 256 is the next one. This is the 128 gig model blue coral. So I've stuck the blue coral here. I also have the blue coral Note 7. The Note 9, Note 8, I went with the black one as at that point I think the color wasn't available for us in the US. The other thing I want to mention to you guys is that this Note 7 is a non-functioning one. This is part of the original problem. So before we start getting all these comments in the notes, this is whatever, this is a non-functioning one. I'm using it purely for design and aesthetics and the S Pen functionality as far as just how the evolution went through. So let's go ahead and unbox real quick the Note 9 and then I'll start doing a comparison for you guys with the Note 8 and the Note 7. Focusing on the Note 9, unboxing it is pretty quick. We're going to take this, I'll put this on the side. And then opening the box. Again, this is the blue coral 128 gig model, T-Mobile variant in the US. We have a SIM removal tool and basically warranty cards, stuff like that. We don't really worry about that. And here it is. This is the blue coral version. We still are forming to the new blue coral color. So this is not the same blue coral that we had originally with the Note 7. And this is, I've always wanted to see another version of the Note line that came in with that same color. You'll notice how bright that blue is, and then the gold accents ever so nicely make it just feel so much more premium in the hand. Now, we'll get a chance to do a straight head-to-head, but overall, we still have the dual SIM tray, which one of them is for an SD card, the other one is for the SIM card. It's placed at the top. We'll use this little SIM removal tool that we have here to be able to access it. And then, of course, we still have that My S Pen. Let's go ahead and pull it out. And the reason why I went with the blue coral this year is because the S Pen has a very nice shiny yellow color, ever so reminiscent of the gold blue here. You can see the golden blue here, and that's what they're really trying to bring in. It's a blue and yellow, trying to give us that original feeling of the Note 7. The other thing is we also have a bigger battery than the last year's model, so we'll get into that. USB-C 3.5mm headphone jack, antenna bands, single firing speaker at the bottom with a microphone. Now this does support stereo speakers, so the mids and lows are going to be at the bottom and the highs are going to be emitting from the earpiece at the top. Of course at the top we have another microphone. On the right we have a single power button that's placed slightly higher from what I understand. Let's go ahead and put it next to the Note 8. Yeah, it's a slightly higher positioning. It's not that much, but if you're used to kind of going in for it, getting in the Note 9, well, you'll have to reach for it a little bit more. And then switching over on the left side, we have a Bixby button, a volume rocker. Again, pretty much the same that we had with the Note 8. The placement of them, of course, slightly higher ever so much. As far as the aesthetics though, if you're looking at the device, they're very similar in the size as far as the length and height, although we are supporting a 6.4-inch display as opposed to the 6.3-inch display that we had with the Note 8. Let's go ahead and remove the plastics and silence please. And here we have it. I'll go ahead and power it on and I'll give it a second to go through that. And then of course we'll just speed through this. We have the USB type A to USB type C. This is going to be the OTG we're going to use with this device to transfer my data from my S9 to Plus. So you can use this with Smart Switch. Of course, as I said, this was a T-Mobile variant. This is adaptive fast charging, basically QC 2.0. Fortunately, still running that, but it's supposed to give us a quick charge on this device very nicely. AKG tuned headphones, USB-A to USB-C. Additional ear tips, 2 replacement tips for the S Pen. Now that we have all three devices, you're going to see right out of the box the differences in sizes. The Note 7 pretty much was the initial release that we went on glass on black, wireless charging, USB-C support. That was also one of the first one that we went in from the Note 5. As you know, that we didn't have a Note 6, so it went 5, 7, 8, 9. Although the 7 was discontinued and they brought in the fan edition one. But essentially 7 does exist. Of course 8 and then 9. We're going from a 5.7-inch display to 6.3 to 6.4, although from the 6.3 to the 6.4 you'll notice they didn't really change much on the display. I mean on the physical size of the actual unit. You're getting basically just a bigger display in the same form factor. But what we also want to keep in mind is that we had a 3500 milliamp battery here that we downgraded to the 3300 milliamp battery because of all the issues with the Note 7. And then now we're up to 4000. So you'll notice right there, we went from 35 to 4000 with a bump backwards in 3300 here. As far as the operating system and the best versions that we have, currently the best operating system that we have on the Note 7, if you're still running a Note 7 Fan Edition, is Android 6.0 Marshmallow. We have Oreo on Note 8, 8.0, and 8.1 here on the Note 9. The display resolution did kind of pretty much stay the same. It's 1440 by 2560, so it's an OLED display, best that Samsung can offer, 515 ppi, 520 and 514 respectively. The cameras in the back all supporting 12 megapixel sensors, although the dual aperture sensor is here now on the Note 9, as is similar to the way we have it on the S9. Where we had it here is, I think, f1.6 aperture on the Note 8, which gave us great pictures. But here we have the ability of switching between the different apertures, so basically expanding the iris to get more light into that sensor. The front camera did go through an upgrade. We went from a 5 megapixel to an 8 and kept with an 8 here. The Snapdragon 821 was running on the Note 7. We went to the 835 to the 845 now, so a natural progression. But as far as RAM, we went from 4 gigs of RAM to 6 gigs of RAM, and now we have a 6 and an 8 gig model. So there is an upgraded version of this. And as I mentioned to you guys with the battery, we went 3500, 3300, 4000. And the last thing I want to talk to you guys before we get into the S Pen is that fingerprint placement. If you notice right there, we have a fingerprint sensor on the front of the device, where we have them now basically in the back of the device. And we went through that learning evolution where the fingerprint sensor went from the front to the back next to the sensor to the perfect placement, which is under the sensor. Now, as you imagine, all three of them have an S Pen, and the S Pen has actually gone through an evolution. So we had a dual tone blue and golden color that matches the outside rim of the actual device with the Note 7. The Note 8 had pretty much the same S Pen. All it did was basically change the color. They're both using the Wacom display that's built in specifically to the Note line, so you won't really be able to use these on any other device. Although both of them had the ability of basically getting proximity functionality on our device, they did not have Bluetooth functionality, which is what we have now with the new S Pen. Now, the new S Pen, if you put them next to each other, for the most part, they kind of all look the same. The little groove kind of changed. Now we have a coloring here, blue. This is the yellow one again. If you get the blue Coral Note 9, you are going to be getting the yellow one. All the other ones have a color, matching color of the S Pen to the actual device. But overall, pretty much the same clickety feeling. But again, we just went through an evolution, and now we have Bluetooth low energy that gives us the ability to control our device from a distance to be able to either change applications or even snap pictures. So this ends up being now a trigger. Very nice upgrade, very nice evolution. But for me, definitely, I've always been a big fan. I wish the blue color on the Coral here did definitely match what we had in the Note 7. Now, real quick, from the sense of the design at the bottom of the device, not much really has changed. We've had always the S Pen sitting in the same position with the microphone, the bottom firing speaker, the USB-C port, the 3.5mm headphone jack, and the antenna bands. That's always been a very nice option here. The power button also, for the most part, kind of ever so slightly every year kind of gone up. That's something that we have to keep in mind. And of course, the device itself, if I just align them all correctly, they're pretty much ever so slightly the same. The Note 9 is slightly longer than the other two devices, but again, just overall what you're getting here is just a better, a bigger display, of course. On the left side, what we have here is a volume rocker, the Bixby button with a volume rocker on both the Note 8 and the Note 9, although you notice ever so slightly, again, kind of going up in the design. What I did want to show you guys real quick is how the tempered edges kind of went through. We've had the same similar symmetrical, almost symmetrical look on both devices. On the Note 7, we did not have that fully symmetrical. It was slightly higher on the right side, but then when we get into the Note 8 and the Note 9, they're pretty much symmetrical, glass on glass slabs on the back. And of course, in the back, what we've had here is the evolution of the sensors: single sensor, heart rate monitor, and dual little tone LED flash. We kept the heart rate monitor, fingerprint sensor on the right, and then now we moved it down to the bottom. You know, we do have the dual aperture as well as the zoom lens that we have on both the Note 8 and the Note 9, rocking in at basically a 12 megapixel sensor that's capable of very nice, very good pictures and video, of course. Here we have it. This is the brand new S Pen. So essentially, it's pretty much the same. We still have all the functionalities, the little rotating menu that we have, pen up, translate, live message, of course, screen write, smart select, view all notes, and of course, create a new note. And we can go into the settings a little bit more. The functionality with the camera itself, we can just open up the camera, and I'm gonna say turn on location tag. I'm gonna say cancel that, and let's switch over to the front facing camera, and I'll say okay. You'll notice right there, Bixby Vision is turned on. I'm gonna go ahead and, well, let's not turn this part on. Let's go ahead and just say, let's see if we can take a picture. Take a picture, and of course, switch camera. Double pressing it switches the camera to the back, and of course double pressing it again takes a picture to all the front. Let's go ahead and take one new one. And here we have a quick one. Location services will say deny, and of course swipe up, and we're able to see the tag information. Very nice implementation. Again, the display does respond specifically to this. It's a Wacom display. This is a T-Mobile variant. We'll get a chance to set that up. And as far as the software version, we have Android 8.1 with Samsung Experience 9.5, which we have 9.0 and 8.0 on the Note 8. What we have currently is basically the T-Mobile variant, so let's swipe up. Of course, T-Mobile applications are present. We have device unlock, T-Mobile app built in, as well as visual voicemail. And if I'm not mistaken, we are able to, no, we are not able to disable the T-Mobile app, but we are able to nope, not even this one. Only the visual voicemail application is allowed to be uninstalled. So that's something you want to keep in mind. Now, no other pages. As far as actual bloatware overall, this is pretty much down to a minimum. I'm surprised. The really, other than the Google Play Suite or the Google Suite of, Play Music, Gmail, of course, Drive, Plays, which are kind of supplemented if you think about them, because Gmail is supplemented by the email application. So we have double apps, device maintenance, and let's go under storage. So built-in storage, this device has 128 gigs of storage, but out of the box, 19.4 of those gigs are used. So we have 108 that's available for us. It says there's some images and so on, but that's just something to keep in mind. The battery out of the box does come in at 67%. I did not charge this, so definitely going to be appreciated to be able to charge it up and go through. We have battery saver, battery usage, of course, monitoring, getting all the optimization. And then memory. As I mentioned, this does have the 6 gigs of RAM, 2.2 of those out of the box with no apps installed. Of course, gallery and camera are on because I turned them on, so I'm going to disable those guys. Give it a second to finish up. And then once we have that, we're down to basically about 1.9 used, but again, over 3.5 gigs of available gigs of RAM. That's very, very nice. Very good, very easy to use. Other than that, the overall camera architecture that we have here, we're supposed to have a little bit more refinement than what we've had with the Note 8. Pretty much they copied the exact setup that we have on the S9 Plus. So if you're used to the S9 Plus, this is definitely going to work. Super slow-mo, AR emojis, and then hyperlapse, of course. And you're able to basically swipe between them using the pen. As you notice, this pen will not do anything on the S9. And then, of course, we have panorama sitting on the top. We have panorama and then food here. So I'm assuming we're able to also download additional ones. But other than that, the app itself does work. Let's go ahead and do a quick front-facing video and back-facing video sample of the Note 9. Here I have a quick video from the front-facing camera. The 8-megapixel sensor is able of recording actually QHD video. So we are recording QHD at 30 frames per second using the front-facing camera on the brand new Galaxy Note 9. So I went ahead and switched over to the back sensor. Now the focal length as far as this is a little bit narrower, so I'm actually having to put the phone a little bit away more with me just to be able to make sure that I'm in the frame. Now the last thing I want to show you guys real quick is the difference between the S9 Plus and the Note 9. So if you're coming from an S9 Plus and you're thinking about going to a Note 9, this is something you want to consider. This is definitely a slightly bigger display. That's one thing you want to keep in mind. The placement of the fingerprint sensor is placed slightly ever so higher on the Note line because of the way the sensors are put, basically side by side, as opposed to top and bottom, which is what we've had before. Again, both very nice, the same shape. Of course, the size of the device is obviously going to be much bigger. This is supposed to be a behemoth. We have a 4,000 milliamp battery here. The placement of the power button, pretty much the same, although we have slightly smaller power button on the Note 9. And the last but not least, let's switch over on this side. It seems like it's a general rule. The buttons on the Note 9 are smaller, even though it's a bigger display or a bigger device. I would have expected it to have maybe the same size buttons. And on the top, same thing, placement of everything. And on the bottom, we have same placement, bottom firing speaker, headphone jack, everything, with the exception that we don't have an S Pen. But great design. The blue color is also ever so slightly different. Both considered to be blue, but both having a different tint of blue. But definitely excited to switch over from the S9 Plus back to a Note line. Definitely a very nice upgrade. If you're coming from, let's say, an earlier version of the Note line, it's not a massive upgrade when you came from, let's say, the Note 8. As for the most part, aesthetically, you're pretty much going to think it's the same device till you look at the back and you can see that the structure is different. The functionality that we have with the S Pen, I think, is a very cool, very nice functionality. And now having that Bluetooth low energy basically gives us the ability to kind of control our device. And we have a trigger that's always with us that we can just place our phone, walk away, snap that picture, and not have to worry about like, hey, do you mind taking a picture of me? I think overall the evolution from the Note 7 to the Note 9, it's been a learning evolution. As you saw, the fingerprint sensors moved from one place to the other. We saw the different placement of the actual power button and now the addition of the Bixby button. The aesthetics will ever so slightly changed. We'll keep going higher. bigger display, 6.4 inch as opposed to the 6.2 or even the 5.7 on the Note 7. So if you're running a Note 7 Fan Edition or any kind of earlier version of the Note, I think the Note 9 is the Note 9 here is definitely a very nice upgrade. If you're coming from the Note 8, this is going to come up, I'll have to basically make that decision after using it for some time in the full review, as it's too close to call right now. But if I'm holding him in the hand, I don't feel like it's that big of a difference that I would just, oh my God, kind of a thing. I have to use it, and that's how it's going to come out in the review. Other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and I'm really excited to have the Note phone here. There's going to be a lot more content obviously coming out of this. But if you're, again, last thing I want to mention, if you're coming from an S9 Plus to a Note, you're only going to go to a Note if you want the Note functionality. But other than that, I just recommend you sticking with the Note with the S9 Plus, because I think this is a great champ and it does everything the Note 9 will do, especially with the camera setup, with just not having to pay the extra $1,000 price tag. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next video.